Hello and welcome to this episode of Read Play Game. We've just finished our play session and this is now our game session. I am the rules lawyer and also the tall person, the TP for this session of Goblin Errands.
Hi, I'm Emma and I revisited a character from one of our previous games, Matt, this session.
I'm Anish and I revisited Qubz.
I'm Tori, and I revisited, for all intents and purposes, my first character I ever made for an RPG, Gatos.
Woo!
I'm Mikey, and I revisited Tofu.
Woo, woo, woo,
What a first character, Tori.
I think that's right, because I didn't create Anakias. That was the first time I played in a role-playing group, but I didn't create the character. So I think that's right. But thank you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We played as are the characters from the show. That's true.
Am I crazy, or did Tofu have a different voice?
I think that was Tofu's voice.
That was Tofu's voice.
I feel like in the past it was more like back of the throat, where it'd be like, well, squares are more of a this time it was more like this.
I couldn't remember.
I think that's kind of close to me.
It's been 4 years.
Well, you know, when you work in the circus, you usually take up smoking. So the difference in voice is the age.
Makes sense. You were just taking into account the time jump.
There was a lot of balls that were juggling.
Exactly. The one thing I was curious about is I can't remember. Did Tofu ever have pronouns, or was it just Tofu?
I think it was he.
Yeah, you had a loincloth.
I couldn't remember.
You were a muscular, similar to Mark's,
but without the hammer and sickle.
Cool. Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, without the tragic backstory.
Well,
anyway,
sleeping in a doghouse.
Yeah, Tofu has a tragic story in what we created.
The current story. So this is our game episode, which if you didn't listen to the read and play episode for this, what are you doing? Go back and do that, or listen to this one if you don't care, if you just want to hear us chat about it. But you're going to be kind of confused, especially because we're talking about something that literally wasn't recorded, like for a lot of this. So you might be a little lost at times. So let's listen really quickly to what I said before we played and see what might have changed about that. Hello, this is me, the TP, the tall person, coming in for, I know we haven't done this in a while, but behind the screen to start out our game episode. I just wanted to kind of go through what I'd rolled because I really like the running the game section because it is no prep, and I think it's fun to cover what I rolled here and just talk about my plans going into this. And I can give a little bit more background about our previous game because I have some fun little references. I'm really excited about this, and I'm hoping that there will be some fun moments where they'll be able to, see a call forward, like a reference to something that maybe might not be the best or like the most obvious to listeners, but listen, this is for us. This episode, this is for us. So, jumping into it, for preparing, it's got tables for generating an errand because that's the core portion of the game. Errands are simple tasks that need to be accomplished for the community, usually by leaving the ken. You can create your own from scratch, but if you need some guidance, which I used because I love their tools, here's a suggestion on how to quickly generate an errand. Roll 2 20-sided dice for each of the following tables, and then give 4 tables. And then you can use those dice to pick which one you prefer. I'll give you a couple options just to get the inspiration rolling, or you can combine them, figure out what works best. So the first table is need, to acquire. So this is what they need to get on this errand. I rolled a 6 and a 16, which is information or sleep. So once I have all 4 details, I'll kind of say how I combined these things and synthesized an errand out of them. But the second table is errand. The ken needs someone to, what I rolled was 18, water the houseplants, or 5, pick up a parcel. And then for place, what's involved here is 5, a simple workshop, or 17, a turbulent festival. And then for person, which these are honestly similar, like the essential things that were established in Weave, which is kind of what I love. It kind of really parallels because in Weave you would select like a plot, point, a place, and a person. So it was kind of awesome, like a character. Person, what I rolled, I actually rolled the same number twice, which was 17, which was kind of perfect because I really like this idea. It's an acerbic tax collector, which I think was kind of perfect because we had a running joke in the original game where I introduced a character that was, I think it was generated by the system, but like I added a little bit of flavor, but it was a herald character, like a herald for the Empress who like would announce things. But I named it Herald the Herald because I thought it would be fun. And then eventually we introduced more characters that Herald the Herald had siblings, which was at some point Taylor the Tailor. And I think there was I don't know if actually this was ever in the game, but I definitely at least had plans for a character named Lawyer the Lawyer. So I think this one was perfect because if it's a tax collector, I can call them Taxmans. So I think that this is going to be Herald the Herald and Taylor the Tailor, which is kind of funny side characters. But I think that Taxman the Taxman is going to be kind of a main antagonist for this setting, which is kind of fun as a prequel to it. I think it's also fun that maybe they might not, obviously they haven't met Herald the Herald yet, but they might not have realized that these were connected. But I think this is Taxman the Taxman, another sibling or maybe cousin or something, parent, I don't know, of Herald the Herald and the others. I'm not exactly sure yet, but essentially what I combined all these things into, I picked information over sleep because that was more compelling to me, because I liked the idea of water the house plants, and the Turbulent Festival because I thought there was a fun way to combine all this. In my head, there's been a recent phenomenon that has excited the town where all the goblins have found, in the Ken there's like a fad where they picked up a plant. Everybody's got like this potted plant, like a lot of people have like succulents or something, just everybody's got this home plant because there was some merchant that came by and everyone was excited by these plants. And in my head, I like the idea of it being one of those like spider plants where like the bulb grows off of the stalk, which honestly might have been something from the original game. But anyway, the goblins of the Ken have all picked up a kind of plant that is starting to die. And the leader has no idea how to care for it since they realized they didn't get care instructions. So the leader was excited, who we've now named Lally Snotgrabber, was excited about the idea of this plant because, it was an exciting new fad. And I think maybe it like might add some like benefit to people. So it like maybe improves the oxygen or something, or like some superstition, I don't know, for the plant. But they realized that they were never told exactly what you're supposed to do with it, like whether you water it or take care of it or whatever. So all of the plants have kind of start dying. So they're sending the goblins out to find the person who originally sold the plant to the community and get those care instructions. And in my head, this person, maybe a goblin or a person, I haven't exactly decided who the person is, but they work at this circus. In my head, the festival was this circus being in town, which is perfect that we had that traveling circus caravan. Like I rolled that, but I saw it on the table and I was like really excited that was what was going to happen. Like I was kind of already planning for that to be in there. And then I saw that on the table. I was like, I hope I roll a 12. And I got a 12, which was perfect. I did not fudge that, believe it or not. So in my head, this is the first time this caravan has come back into town since, we established that it didn't like this goblin settlement being nearby. But they're like, well, we haven't been in this town in a while. So this is a really big, exciting event that it's back in town. So I think they're going to have to go there and, maybe it might be a nice lead-in for Kaug and Matt to get acquainted with the circus. But they work there and there's going to be some sort of reveal at some point that that Taxman the Taxman is in town or at the circus, investigating the circus, like auditing or like collecting the taxes, and has something out for the Goblin Village, and is actively like another sort of reveal where actually the plants are meant to die. Like they are there. They were deliberately not given care instructions. And I think that the goblin or whoever the person that actually told them about it doesn't know character, doesn't know these themselves, because they're meant to die, because these are vessels for one of these flavors of mushrooms. In our main campaign, we had these glowing mushrooms that, like we said, Tofu consumed, and it made Tofu part of a collective, like, hive mind consciousness thing. But Tofu had a little bit of independence. But there were, like, two kinds of mushrooms. There were the blue glowing mushrooms and the green glowing mushrooms. I can't remember which one Tofu had, but obviously that's not important here because that hasn't happened yet. These ones might be different. These ones might be red, like, just to set it and have it be distinct. But it is intentionally, these are dying, and then, like, maybe on the stalk, like, there are the spores for this fungus, and it is intended to infect the town. So actually what they're going to realize they have to do is not care for these plants, but get them out of there as soon as possible. So that's sort of the premise or the idea that I have, which will be a fun little adventure too. And so what you kind of come up with here is you come up with, in addition to this errand, you have to populate it with 3 challenges and a side quest. I haven't figured out the side quest yet, so I might not say that in this, because I have to do a little bit more thinking. Challenges, they're obstacles that require 1 or more risk rolls from the goblins. So an errand should have about 3 challenges. I'm still also kind of developing this, but I think at least one of the challenges, I might make it a challenge for them to like locate the circus, but they'll probably know it's nearby. Or here, since the circus has expressed its disdain for goblins, they might have guards out to try and keep the goblins from getting in. So I imagine one challenge might be getting into the circus. Another challenge is finding this person, like finding that merchant somewhere in the circus, and they might be involved in like one of the performances. And then talking to them, and then like that whole challenge is getting that information, and then that'll reveal the taxman thing. And then the third challenge will be getting the plants all out of the town in time, or just getting the message across, or however that manifests. So in my head, that's the 3 challenges. I'll have to figure out the side quest. I think there might be some fun ideas with some goblin needing something from the circus. I'll figure that out. Yeah, that's basically what I have planned. I'm super excited. This was a very, very fun campaign, and it's really, I was honestly almost tearing up during the read session because I just loved it so much. So yeah, that'll be awesome, and I'm excited to play. Thank you so much for listening.
Wow, that was so insightful.
That was super insightful.
It's interesting how you took the pieces and created a cohesive story. You know, like water the house plants versus...
I wanted to incorporate aspects of our original campaign where I could. And so it would be fun in my mind to integrate that mushroom aspect, which distinctly the mushrooms were supposed to be a different color than the 2 we used in the game. In the actual campaign that we had, I think there were 2 different groups of blue and green mushrooms. So I added a red mushroom. So now we've got all 3 chipmunks. And then, and I just kind of wanted to call forward to that. So I figured, since I was already doing plants, I was like, that's kind of a perfect place to like the spider plants would have the spores in them. And then I also thought that the taxman thing was funny because it could call back to, like, this could be a family member of Harold the Herald and Taylor the Tailor.
Taxman the Taxman.
Taxman the Taxman. So
and
I thought...
Stick the Sticksmith, obviously.
Yeah, clearly.
They're all family.
Layla the Snot Grabber.
I loved...
Her name was Lolly.
Lolly.
I loved revisiting these characters, so I think I was set to love this game, even if, like, regardless of the mechanics of it. I thought it was pretty forgiving, and I think it's built to be forgiving because they want it to be kind of like, you know, shenanigans as opposed to actual, like, combat or, like, serious fallout. And I love that you can increase your success by conceding some element of it. So it makes for really interesting, like, give and takes. It feels like the players and the tall person really get to cohesively build the narrative together. Yeah, I had a great time.
It was really, really fun revisiting these characters because I forgot how little of the wheel I had to take. Because, like, especially the beginning part, y'all just embodied the characters in a way that I forgot was how we did it back then. Because back then it was just y'all fucking, like, riffing for a long time, and then me being like, I guess I drew this card that has a plot point. So I thought that was pretty cool that like, I don't know, it just felt, it reminded me, because, like, I feel like a lot of these games, sometimes we're not really sure where the characters go, but I forgot that these characters, we had so comfortably fit into them, and I feel like you guys seamlessly got back into them really, really well, and it was, I barely had to do anything, and especially with like what you were saying, with, like, you guys integrating stuff into the story drove itself super well, because all I had in mind was that y'all would, like, find a way to get in. I thought you'd walk up and just charm them, but you did the 4 goblins in a trench coat, and then it ended up at the sack race. I was like, my vision was that you would go to the performance of the Blue Man Group, and they would be doing their performance, and you would have to figure out, because in my head they were all identical, I was like, you're going to have to figure out which one is Peabody Sherman of the 3. That was the challenge in my mind, but no, I just did the sack, like you did the sack race. I was like, cool, that'll work.
Yeah.
It was funny, actually, because when we walked up, your guard character was like, oh, well, if you go right over here, that's the performer's entrance. Like,
And we were like, nope.
I had kind of created more of a problem than there needed to be.
Yeah.
Which was always what it did.
This game is actively about putting problems into...
You became a fucking dog in our original game.
Yeah.
I think the 4, like having the 4 be a stumble that you can turn into a success, is a really cool mechanic. I also, just personally, I think my favorite, like, systems are I love D6 systems. Like, things based on D6 with the partial success, all of that stuff I just love it so much. I think it's so fun and easy to understand. And, like, quick to pick
and
up.
I think adding a die to a pool does so much more than, like, having a bonus. I don't know. It feels a lot better.
Right. 100%. Yeah. Because it's like if you get a 10 and you have a +1 versus, like, you have a whole other die you can roll. Like, that's so cool.
Possibilities. Anish, you were going to say something?
No, I just wanted to say it definitely felt the same exact way about stepping back into these characters. the character classes unbelievably fit so well with what we already had as concepts before. It slotted perfectly. And I think that speaks to the universality of goblins. Like, there's something about goblins that you can put all the goblins in a room together and they'll configure themselves in familiar ways. Like the trench coat situation, that's like a trope, I feel like.
That's from Snow White, I'm pretty sure.
Seven Dwarfs.
And the art for group actions is literally all the goblins standing on each other's shoulders. It's
I
like,
don't know if that's real, but early animated film where they do that.
really?
They do it when they're dancing with her.
The however many like children in a
they're
trench
dancing
coat
with
thing
her,
is like a
yes.
common thing in like media and memes and stuff.
Because it's a classic.
But even then, the resourcefulness, like having a tinkerer, having somebody be the head who's just like real good at talking, like the game is definitely drawing from popular D&D classes and like the roles they occupy. But despite that, throwing that with and deeply entrenching it in the goblin aesthetique, beautiful. I missed our friends. I missed our little family.
I'm desperate to play this to revisit this again with the characters, maybe on like spring break or something, in person at the RPG retreat that we do annually, where the five of us go. I'm making this up, but for me, like, however fun the game was, which I think it was, like, it was very fun. I am desperate, especially with how at each other's throats these characters are just all the time. I want to be in a room and like physically fight over the spoon. Of like, that was not funny enough. Hand that back. Like, you know, like, I feel like that would add a lot too as well.
Especially because we started in person, and I kid you not, this game session was pretty much exactly the same feeling as how our games used to feel. I feel like it was just that, like the clip that we have from one of our game sessions, it's just the same energy. As raunchy as that clip is.
Is it me attacking that guy?
It's attacking the mirror version of you that was
With
like the nightmare version of you. Yeah,
bulge.
with an appendage.
Yeah.
You came onto him. And it's me describing that process.
It was so like viscous and like gooey.
We don't have to. We do
Hey,
not.
these words, we don't.
My fucking aunt listens to this podcast.
Cut it.
Cut it.
Don't cut it, coward.
I do think there's
I'll bleep it out.
the mischievous nature of it all. I want to be physically fighting over that spoon. I felt like we were pretty polite with it because we were on Zoom, but I want to be.
Yeah, there is an energy to like being like, that was a funny joke. You now get the spoon. Like is different than like someone grabbing for the spoon and then being like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? You don't deserve that spoon right now. That wasn't funny. You know, like. Or like,
actually, it was my reaction to what you said that made me.
I had a good relationship with my mom.
or like if like I could see it being like someone's like, oh, they get the spoon, and the previous person is like running around the room trying to not hand over the spoon so they can finish their thought before they hand it over. Like, I want to fight about it.
Being in person would allow the group to go goblin mode at some point.
Yes.
And I didn't get to go goblin mode.
To me, goblin mode was the trench coat.
Yeah, I was about to say, despite all of our time with these characters, I'm not quite sure I can visualize or describe what. Tell me, what is goblin mode to you?
What is goblin?
Oh, we get a.
Oh.
Fuck it.
Editor's note. For the next 15 seconds or so, Anish proceeded to go goblin mode, scaring himself and everyone around him. The audio does not do it full justice. Please, if you're interested, check out our Instagram for the full video at ReadPlayGamePod.
Okay, point taken.
Please give us an East back, please.
Enjoy the rest of the episode.
Guys! I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Okay, now I get it.
You can have the spoon. I'm going to start saying that instead of laughing at my friends. Be like, oh, yeah, you can have the spoon.
I think that I just want to thank Anish for providing us with one of our promo clips for this arc. Thank
I was
you for
about to say that.
And to anybody who's an
100%.
audio only lister, I'm sorry.
You don't want
Check
to see
out the Instagram. It will be out there. You'll be fine.
Sorry, I don't know. I don't know what came over me.
I don't know what happened.
It was so funny.
All
But
right.
to piggyback off you, Emma, I also love how at our throats these characters are, because I feel like in a lot of our games, we're kind of a team and we're working together. So it was kind of fun to be like picking on each other, especially because they're siblings. So it feels like natural or whatever, as opposed to, in Heart, like we're semi strangers. And so they'll, we'll like clip and stuff, but it's just not the same kind of arguing. And oh my God, I had so much fun as the head. It was honestly like a perfect scenario for me. I did feel bad.
Like no one else is allowed to talk.
Literally, yeah, I did feel bad out of game that I wanted like to make sure y'all were able to like be included or whatever. But yeah, I loved that part.
I feel like there was a good amount of...
My favorite part when everyone else shut the fuck up.
Yeah, next time we're going to play a game, it's going to be only Tori gets to role play a game and everyone else, I guess,
you can
rolls
vote if it was funny or not.
Tori's like, promise?
Right.
Tori's writing this game as we speak.
And me like salivating.
I guess that would be just GMing a game. But yeah, I think that... That doesn't sound so great now, huh?
You tricked me. You put the pill in the cheese.
I could go around. I want the cheese, but I'm scared of the box. Yeah, so great job here. I mean, what am I fucking... I'm giving fucking accolades to the fucking creator.
Titles.
I thought this was a very concise and well-designed game, very fitting for the atmosphere. And it helps that we had the vibe already, but... I think this was a perfect opportunity for us to do that. Other thoughts, comments that we want to make?
One thing that was a little tough for me was the mental calculus between whether I wanted to use a stumble and turn it into a complication, because the difference between success and a better success wasn't clear in my brain. I guess I didn't understand the examples.
I don't know if we got any full successes, like of the best kind.
We got one of the best.
No, we got one.
And that was when we
got a check
that Tori got.
Well, no, we had the
profound success.
We had the profound success winning the sack race, because we won money and we got taken to the place where we needed to go.
Which was great. I think that's...
Wait, I thought the one like 4 success we got was when Tori was talking to the guard.
Maybe I'm confused.
Because the sack race was
so
like
was talking to the guard, because you were walking in circles and Cog was trying to guide you, and Matt was... I don't remember. I feel like all of us had to roll to get to talk to the guard.
No, it was before. It was when you rolled for eyes or whatever. When
it was
we were trying to get into the
place. It was
that
to get into the trench coat. We looked great
that was
at the beginning.
Yeah.
We were like, this will work.
But I suppose I, as a player, and me as a goblin, I'm going to try to add as many complications as possible, because that's just how I play, and I love that. But for somebody who wants to do like genuine math about it and like pros and cons and evaluate that kind of thing, I don't know the difference between successful and profound success.
Success and profound success. In my head, I was sort of figuring that out toward the end. Like, profound success was, to me, getting the upper hand in a situation, too. So, like, success is you just do it. And then profound success is, like, you do it and you're, like, you're in a more advantageous position versus, like, the 4-level success would be, like, something incredibly helpful that is unrelated happens. Is what I had in my head, but I didn't really figure that out toward the end anyway. But I do really like the stumble mechanic and like the complication mechanic, because it helped me a lot, like to just guide the story, because, it's easy to feel as a GM that you're like walking players through something sometimes, but like that took so many directions that I really wasn't expecting it to. And I think that combined with the really helpful plot structure that it broke down in the GM section of giving me all the components, in a way, it was like Weave. It's kind of perfect that we did that because Weave had you draw a card for a plot event, for a location, and a character, which is exactly what they had tables on this for, in addition to like another detail. But like that's essentially what you're planning out, which is breaking down role-playing games to their core essentials. It's and then coming up with 3 challenges, like that's all it is. You come up with those 3 things and then you can add things as you go. So it was nice to have that structure that I was keeping in mind so that no matter what you guys were doing, I could guide it toward those 3 challenges, which is why like I could have had the sack race happen completely independently of finding the guy, but I was like, I'll tie that in, but it's cool that that's where the situation is because now we're all telling this story together, which is really effective.
That was smart.
It was very fun. And I thought there were some great.
Was the taxman inspired by taking more than is recommended NyQuil?
Like the Hat Man?
Yes.
Oh.
I see the tax man. Yeah. I mean, the tax man came to me in a dream.
I don't know what I would change. Usually I've got something. I think that part where it was talking about, like, I don't know, I think they were talking about a small attention span or something. This one kept it moving for me. And yeah, I don't know. What do y'all think? Was there anything you were like, man, I wish this was
constantly
blank?
stimulating.
No, I liked it. It was super, like, I don't know. Well, yeah, I do wonder what it would be like on like a longer, like longer campaign thing. Like if you did a lot more.
The length of this, like in terms of the longevity, I think when you get a certain number of titles, that's when your character moves on.
Gets retired.
So I would say,
and I think their like child comes in, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Whoa, did not read that.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think you got
Because
like
it said
a
you
good,
could pass it down.
You get eaten. You straight in ours, not in theirs. That's not part of the rules, but
in our world, the parents get eaten.
Wow.
The nibbler. But I really I loved it. I thought it flowed super, super well. And like I said, I mean, D6 systems are so easy to get into. But I love how everything really fit in with the theme, because there's the core system where you can't die and it's all very mischievous, that kind of stuff. And I think all of the skills, like the feats, really built upon the theme super well and just helped add to the air of mischievousness and being able to, be scrappy and get your way through.
For me, it's not, I think, a fault of the game at all, but what I was talking about before, kind of the whole time we were playing, I was like, dang, I wish we were in person for this one. Like, I think some games lend themselves a little bit more to virtual playing. Yeah. And I think that this one does, like, virtual playing does detract a little bit from the game. You can still play it and it's still fun, but I felt like we weren't getting the, like, full experience with that.
Yeah.
No.
Someday.
No spoon passing.
It's been a year.
Oh, no, I thought you died. You hadn't moved in a couple.
No, I just was like taking that in, and it's been a whole year, and it's just like.
Yeah.
I was just reflecting. Yeah, I was H.
Reflect.
Yeah,
Reflect,
I was H
play.
asterisk S asterisk asterisk. I was holding space.
Oh.
Well, one thing I'll say that I kind of. This is on y'all. I wish you had done more was overextend yourself because Emma did it a bunch. But the thing is that both, I think it was only twice that it happened.
Was
maybe.
I successful both times?
I rolled a 6 on both of those. So like I would have liked to have an overextend where I didn't, because then like pretending like it's like if I had for example not rolled well on the sack, I would have been like halfway through the sack breaks and you guys lose, so that would have been fun. But I like the tension that brings, because then you can never really know until the interaction with that object is
That's
that
so cool.
thing is over.
When that one with the football came back, I was like, fuck, is it like a bomb or something?
It would be fucking awesome.
I do love that they specify at the worst possible moment.
Yeah. So I could do that anytime in the game. Like,
Or
even if you
out
got
of
through
the
the
game.
sack race, I could be like, the sack fucking, it was like
It's
full
actually a
of
bunch
ticks.
of worms.
Yeah.
Once again, my enemy has replaced my cigarette with a stick of dynamite.
When I
They
was a
can't
kid,
keep getting away with this.
the last thing on our roll list is to play Troika, and I believe this was a specific sub thing of it for you, or do we want to just elaborate on that?
I found a module that I kind of want to use. Troika is a science fantasy RPG, and it's one of the ones that's a little bit more, like, there's a lot built into it, but it is designed to be simple to run. So it's got a lot of pre-made stuff that you can jump into the setting with all of this in mind, and for ease of us, like, playing and really delving into the system, I was going to use a module that I had found that a fan had designed. So then, like, we don't have to worry about me building it wrong while we're learning rules. So, like, I've got one, and it is, oops, I fell in a hole.
We were going to be beginning our second year of Read Play Game the same way we began our first, with Emma GMing a game for us.
And I was wrong about what it's called. The module that I want to play from Troika, designed by Madeline Ember, and it's So You've Been Thrown Down a Well. So you've all been thrown down a well.
Look forward to that.
Second editor's note. Do not look forward to that. Despite all of the incredibly reasonable points that I was making, I got caught in a harebrained scheme and decided to design my very own Troika module. Please, please check out So You've Been Thrown Down a Well as well, but you can expect an entirely original story from us here at Read Play Game. Thank you.
That in our next episode of Read Play Game, or in a couple episodes maybe, because we might have a special little surprise for you. At a different table, a brand new table that we've never been to before. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. I love this table. Our initials are carved into this table.
Aww.
No.
It's a really sticky table.
Oh.
Sorry.